And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to HomeStory Cup 25 Day 1, the group stage. Group B, I'm of course Live VIP, and with me I'm joined by these amazing players here at HomeStory Cup. I'm of course live remotely here in the land of Australia. It is almost 5 a.m. in the morning, but we have returned. I apologize for the extended delays, but I believe the players, they were eating, they were getting some food, they were resting up and getting ready for the remainder of the group as we're getting into our TVP. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of our Guiana, we have our German Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing himself. He's currently teamless, but it is Moja. I heard them calling him Moja on the mainstream, so I don't know if it's Moja or Moja. It's fine. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the red Protoss representing Team Liquid. It is SKillous. So again, I apologize for the extended delays, but we just need a moment to get all the players well fed, get them rested, get them ready for a long weekend of StarCraft. Shout out to HomeStory Cup. Of course, they even have a kitchen stream, I believe. They have like a kitchen cam set up that you can switch to during the break, so you can see the people cooking in the kitchen and getting everything ready. Do appreciate it. Hello, Monsieur. As the SCV is going to be sent out across the map, headed towards for an E-Way block, I believe, at the natural base. We'll be delaying the expansion of SKillous, so a nice cheeky move here out of Moja. Meanwhile, across the map, Probe is coming in for its own scout. To get an eye on the opener, it's going to be a Rax expand, but because of the investment into this eBay, I believe this should be a Rax into factory, into a delayed expansion, as the eBay is thrown down, and the eBay will get quite a bit of regression on it. Let's go. So the way this works is you do want to pull out of the eBay just before it finishes. So the pull-out game has to be strong here for Moja. Does manage to do so. And with this, we can, of course, cancel it. We force the unnatural natural. Skill is forced to expand elsewhere here at the linear third base instead. Nexus is going to be thrown down, and this means that SKillous is more vulnerable. He's more exposed. You can harass the natural, you can harass the main. It's going to be a little bit more difficult for SKillous to split up between the bases, and that means that Moja could even be a little bit more aggressive as well. We'll see. There's that factory that we spoke about. This often leads into Cyclone production, and with your Cyclones, you can try to overwhelm and overpower the defending Protoss player. So we could just hyper commit on one base. We'll see if that's what we go for. For the time being, SCV's racing back home. Again, reactor is finishing up. I'm curious if this is for an add-on swap or not. So we're getting ready for, I imagine, CC. Yep, there it is. Command center on the high ground. Reactor finishing up. Behind this, SKillous going for his own proxy. Okay, I'm liking this. Turning a defense into an offense. A pylon across the map, I imagine, for a gateway so we can reinforce. Are going for our initial adept. With a second gate, and soon to be, I imagine, a third gate. Yeah, there it is. Third gateway on the way. So it's going to be a 3-gate opener here at a SKillous, who will have an abundance of gateway units to work with. Meanwhile, we spoke about the add-on swap. There it is. Add-on swap with reactor on the factory and double cyclone production underway. This is a way to overwhelm these early gateway units. Adepts and stalkers early on in low numbers can be just torn apart by cyclones. Now, this build was stronger last patch when the cyclone was a little bit more just beefier, was able to just dish out more DPS as well with its lock-on, with its ability to relock on immediately. It was a bit more of a threat last patch, and as a result, this build was a lot more popular, a lot more common. Nowadays, less so. Interesting, as we're following this up with a second Rax, and I imagine a third Rax as well. So this is a very aggressive build. We are expanding, that is true, but this could turn into a 2-base all-in, as we are getting to stim very quickly. Alien Cyclones moving out. Back across the map, it's going to be a Twilight Council opener towards Blink. Stalkers are in position. We have 4 Stalkers back at home and an Adept. Meanwhile, Moja rotating around. Gateway is done, but right now we're not making use of it. We have to take a defensive stance instead before we can counter-attack. See the Stalkers here on the right-hand side, threading a shade towards the Zelnaga. We'll get eyes on the Hellions. That is going to be dragging SKillous to the right-hand side, and that opens up the left. But we have units in position. Likewise, Hellions are shut down, so the Cyclones, SKillous, he defends. He does force back the army, and we can keep pushing. We can, and it looks like we will. Hellions are being targeted. The first Hellion goes down. We're going for the Cyclone. Don't quite get it. damage done nonetheless, and now we can reinforce. There we go, Adepts on the front lines. We are pushing towards the natural. What do we have at home to defend? We have Marines amassing. Stim is almost done. Combat shields as well, but almost is not good enough. Yeah, boys are being pulled to repair. And with this army, we can focus on those Cyclones. We're looking to. Yeah, more boys have to be pulled. Additional Stalkers have arrived, and we're snowballing out of control. Moja is in a lot of trouble. SCVs are falling, and so are the Cyclones. We're down to 2 Hellions and a handful of Marines. We do force the army back with that 7 SCVs. That's 8 SCVs already going down. We get the final Hellion. We do get the final Hellion, and here it comes. We're warping in 3 Adepts at a time. We can keep pushing. Stim is going to finish up in a couple of seconds. Is now done. Stim is done. Tank has arrived. We hold. Moja has held, but at a cost. At the cost of 9 SCVs. All of our Hellions and all of our Cyclones. Behind this, Skillous taking a third. Skillous is expanding, working towards Blink, saturating his natural. Still does reinforce. Again, he's containing the Terran player quite well. And as he contains, do we commit? We do! Oh, he's crazy! The Stalker's a little bit too far back. The repairs are too good, and this was not the best trade here. Skillous bleeding off. How many Adepts? That was 6 Adepts and 2 Marines. That was not a worthwhile trade, and now suddenly Skillous is in a bit of trouble. His Stalkers are very softened up from earlier. We're now lacking that Adept buffer that we once had. Moja, do we push? We are. We're pulling the boys. 2 base all in. We spoke about this before, but 3 racks is 1 factory. No starport. It's a straight up 2 base all in from Moja. Is moving out across the map. The Stalkers do miss the army, and we could end up in a weird base trade. We catch a reinforcing tank. Tank is going to go down, but I'm sure Skillous is thinking to himself, hold up. Where's everything else? Where's the mineral line? Where are the tanks? We need to recall. We either recall or we just commit to the all-in. Or to the base trade, I meant to say. Now we're recalling. Skillous, he recalls back home. Moja is on 1 base. The boys have arrived. And we're already within range of the Nexus. Second tank is pushing forward. Only 2 tanks. Remember, the 3rd tank was sniped. So only 2 tanks with the shield. We have the overcharge. The Nexus is going to fall. Skillous will give it up. Bearing in mind, we can afford to lose this base. Remember, Moja's on 1 base. He's on 1 base economy. The 3rd base doesn't matter. Do give it up. Skillous rotating around, trying to catch reinforcements, trying to punish the army. Oh, going for the tank. Doesn't quite get it. Trying to come in from behind. Army is spotted. Tank does siege. Very careful control here out of Moja. He does rotate around, more reinforcements all the way. We catch another tank! Another tank goes down. Moja's turning back around, does use a stim. Dives on the Stalkers, but we do avoid it. We avoid the main army. We drag Moja all the way back home. Here comes Skillous from behind, catching SCVs that were left idle. SCVs do fall. Moja still trying to bring this all together. Skillous almost overextending, getting a couple of shots off on the tank, pulling back. Bearing in mind the Terran player is still on 1 base. We're getting ready for a surround. We're getting ready for it. We have a lot of charge-outs behind the army. Stalkers as well. We're actually busting into the main. We find another tank. No shot. Another tank goes down. Moja is pushing. But likewise back at home. Deepers are being knocked down as well. Moja. Yeah, busting into the main. Likewise, we now have Marauders. Sorry, Marauders. We now have Colossus. Immortals. Look, it's getting late here, fam. It's getting late. But GG gets scored. We collapse on the army. There's just too much to defend. As Skillous will take game number 1. With the arrival of those Immortals, was able to shut down that force. It takes the lead. Does take a lead. GG. That was still a very intense game. You know, there were moments for both players. There was that moment, of course, with Skillous bleeding out all of those Adepts. Did leave himself vulnerable. He did miss the move out, but was able to confirm the all-in, was able to recall home in time. Wasn't able to defend the 3rd, but was able to protect the natural. And with that, that is game 1 in the books for Skillous. Now we're getting ready for game number 2. Let's go. We are getting ready for it. As a reminder, this is a best of 3. We are still in the group stage, round robin. And we'll see if Moja can bring it all back. I can see why Skillous is a favorite. I mean, he is one of the best Protoss players in Europe. He is top 3 You can argue top 2, but he's at least top 3. Top 3 Protoss in Europe, alongside Showtime and MaxPax. Showtime, another Protoss player that's in a different group, but Showtime is also in this tournament. Showtime, of course, the German Protoss player. Yeah, SKillous, cool, calm, and collected. He, of course, knew that he could give up on the third base. He could let it go. He had the wherewithal to catch reinforcements time and time again, to just pull the Terran player apart as the all-in was attempted. And now we're settling in. We're settling into Game 2. It's going to be on side Delta. Can we bring it back? Can we force the ace match? Or will SKillous take the 2-0? I'm hoping for an ace match. And I'm greedy, Pappy. I'm greedy. I would love to see a back and forth. I'd love to see a Game 3. But the pressure is now on the Terran. And here we go. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of side Delta, we have the blue Terran player. Blue German Terran. Representing himself, currently teamless. It is Moja. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss player representing Team Liquid. Leading the series 1-0. It is SKillous. It was a cheeky start from Moja in Game 1. Remember, we were able to get our eBay up and running. We were able to delay the expansion and force it elsewhere to have a bit of a shakier start from SKillous. SKillous handled the situation quite nicely, but it looks like we're going for something similar. Once again, the SCV does avoid the main scouting pattern. So the probe will miss the SCV. SCV comes in from behind, and we are going for the eBay block once again. Just like the last game, the goal here is to throw down the eBay, is to not finish it, but make it close enough to have enough HP to force the Protoss player to expand elsewhere. So very similar dynamic to game number 1. eBay is on the way. Likewise, SKillous does come in with a probe scout. We'll get eyes on the racks. Only one gas back at home, but this should be following up with a factory once again. A factory, and with a Cyclone setup. There's that eBay. Does not finish probe, forced to expand elsewhere. SCV comes in for the scouts. Gets eyes on the Cybercore. And SKillous is going to be expanding at the triangular third location. Not the linear third, like we saw previously. Is going to be expanding here on the left-hand side. And we'll see what Moja's response is going to be. Last game, he went for a reactor with a factory. This time, interesting, we're going for a faster command center. The last game we went factory before CC, this time CC before factory. So more economic. This time much more economic, this time less aggressive. And we'll see where this leads us. That means that now the likelihood of this being a 2-base all-in is a little bit lower. Still early to tell. Oh my god, as we are going for what looks to be a 3-rack setup. We don't see this too often, just every now and then. Second Rax is on the way. We should be seeing a third. Yeah, we pulled out of gas. We pulled out of gas. We should be seeing a third Rax thereafter as well. Reaper is forced back. And Moja is setting up for a stim timing. Basically, what this is just mass bio. Mass Marine working on stim, working on combat shields, eventually even mixing in some Marauders if need be. Yep, and oh, never mind. Never mind. I assumed that this was going to be a 3-racks, but no, this is a 2-racks into a third CC. Very greedy here by Moja. Okay, okay. Yeah, my attention. I think it's going to be 3CC 3-racks. Like if we're staying on such a low gas count, this would make sense. But a very economic variation of 3-racks, assuming that a third racks is thrown down. This is a build that has been a little bit rising in popularity this year specifically. Over the past couple of months, I would say post-Katowice. First I am Katowice. As we do chase down one of these adepts, adept gets shut down. Second adept should also be targeted as well. And we can soon expand. And natural base now soon to be taken. Stim is on the way. We may nodding over towards that natural. SKillous will threaten a shade. Ooh, does get under the CC. Does delay the landing for a little bit. Meanwhile, back home, it's going to be a Blink-based opener. We have Blink. We have a third gateway on the way, so it's going to be 3-gate Blink out of SKillous. And we spoke about it earlier. Yep, 3CC into 3 racks. There's a third racks on the way. Now into a factory as well, into a starport. So we should be building up towards a 16 Marine kind of medevac push. I would imagine. We should be building up towards that. E-base on the way for our upgrades. Yeah, just a really interesting setup here from Moja. Again, very economic because of the fast third, very bio-heavy. The downside of this build, as you can imagine, we have no map presence. Like, Moja has not done much across the map outside of the Reaper harass. Like, Moja has no Hellions, no Cyclones, no medevacs, no drop play. Like, this Reaper is all we're relying on to scout. And we do confirm the third. So the Reaper confirms that SKillous is expanding. So Moja should be feeling pretty safe. Moja can take a bunker, get set up, settling in. There's that starport on the way. Should be for, again, eventually medevac production. And I imagine we should be seeing a reactor. Yep, there it is. Reactor's on the way. So this is for an add-on swap for double medevac production here for Moja. Once the medevacs come out, then we can push. Then we can be active. Now, SKillous, likewise, he gets a full scout. He gets a full scout of the main base observer. We dive in. We dive into the main. Moja is supply blocks. Oh, now is not the time. Tech Lab's under fire. We pick up a couple of Marines. So not a bad pickoff here from SKillous. Looking at the trades, that was 3 Marines for nothing. SKillous did not lose the Stalker. Very nice trade. Rotating back in. Once again, Observer does give him some high ground vision. He is just looking, vying for a weak point here in the defenses of Moja. Back at home, we're taking up. Before we go for any additional gateways, we have a double forge on the way and a Templar Archives. The reason why SKillous feels safe enough to tech up so heavily here is because he saw the third. He saw the third base, he saw additional production. He knows that this time it's not a 2-base all-in, so SKillous knows he's safe to prioritize his upgrades before getting into additional gateways. And now we have the gateway explosion. Working towards 1-1, working towards Storm as our splash damage of choice, not Colossus. It's all on the way. SKillous containing his opponent and ideally delaying this expansion. Third base is now being taken, and SKillous is somewhat in position to delay. Oh, Marines move out, we have a stim. SKillous does get away, shaving off some of those Marines. Third is now being established. The Observer does confirm. SKillous is aware. And as we take a third, SKillous takes a fourth. Again, feeling safe enough to expand, safe enough to work towards a longer game. Looking at SKillous, catching a Marine. Getting one, getting 2 Marines, blinking away. Again, being very careful with his control, doesn't lose the Stalker. Scan, I believe, shut down the Observer. Yeah. The Observer was caught. Observer goes down. Keen eyes there out of Moja. Storm almost done. Oh. And Moja, he's now pushing out. We have a large enough Marauder army that we can be active. We can hunt down these Stalkers. Stalkers will escape, but we can at least get the pylon. As SKillous has pylons scattered throughout the map. Just scatting information to get eyes on any drop play, any army movement. Likewise, an Observer in the center as well. And now SKillous has built up. Now we have 1-1 upgrades. We have 3 High Templar in that War Prism. Storm is done, so that's 3 Storms available. Looking for the main army. There's a lot of potential here in this Prism. Likewise, it's also a little bit vulnerable as well. We have to be careful. Very careful control here out of SKillous. Does find the army. Pick up the Storms. Not quite yet. Do you hold them back? Up. And there they are. Massive Storm on the by. Oof. A lot of damage on the Marines. And that was merely the first Storm. Now, we did lose the High Templar. There's 1 Storm for a High Templar. But we still have 2 left. Meanwhile, second Robo's on the way. Immortal production has begun. With the second Robo, we can get into double Immortal production. We could even work towards Colossus or Disruptors if we throw down the bait, which we have yet to invest in. If you heard from Nikita or SKillous earlier, he had an interview on cams. I spoke about it earlier about how that's when he said that he wasn't really scared of anyone in the group. But that's also where he mentioned that if he does notice that the Terran player is being very Marauder heavy, as we're seeing, very Marauder heavy here from Moja, SKillous does respond with Mass Immortal. So we're making nothing but immortals right now. We're not relying on disruptors. Charge is not quite done, so the Zealot's having a hard time keeping up. Solid kiting here from Moja. At the same time, we have a second force towards the left-hand side. Yeah, just looking really awkward here as we try to chase down the arm with slow lots of all things. Oof. SKillous bleeding out quite a bit of Zealots. Stalkers adding quite a deep amount of DPS on the back line. Marauders as well. But I'm not sure this is a fight we want to take. Again, we have so much kiting potential here. Now we can dive on top of the immortals. SKillous, he overextends. Storm coming in from behind. The storms are good, but we're going to lose everything else. Going for a desperation warp in. We can focus on the prison. The warp in does not finish, and we lose everything. Ay, ay, ay. We need to charge so much sooner. Charge is finally done, but it's too late. Once again, we overextend. Another immortal goes down. Massive losses here for SKillous. And SKillous, he's in trouble. Moja looking to snowball out of control. We're going to try to hold the line, but again, we lost so much supply for free earlier. SKillous going for a desperation counterattack. That's a lot of Zealots. Going for the mineral line. Moja, ooh, does pull back home. Yeah, big reaction here out of the Terran player. He turns all the way back around. And that is giving SKillous the time he needs to rebuild. To warp in. To remax. This Zealot run by didn't actually kill a lot of SCVs, but it bought time. Did buy time here for SKillous. Back at home, SKillous, he's taking another expansion. He's on 5 bases. Likewise, additional immortals. Do we have any High Templar? We do. We have 3 High Templar here at the center base. He's also being forced back at the same time. SKillous catching reinforcements. Yeah, very nice movement here out of SKillous. Moja out of position. Immortals are going down. A couple of Marines as well. SKillous backs up. At the same time, he's aware of this army. Moja moving out. Moja still has momentum. Like, Moja, he's still ahead. Still has a lot of supply to work with. We spoke earlier how SKillous was attempting to go mass immortal, but he lost so many already. Yeah, another immortal getting picked up. The downside here, immortals are so mobile. We get another, and soon to be another. And Moja is snowballing out of control. He shuts down every immortal at the same time, dropping into the natural. SKillous having a hard time keeping up. Yeah, here the numbers, the stupid does not lie. Moja, he's maxed out. And he's looking to crush this base and crush the main army. Pushing in from both sides. SKillous does affect the army outside the natural, but the 5th base goes down. And sure, we have a handful of High Templar. We have some storms available, but the storms against Marauders does almost nothing. And we catch the High Templar. 2 High Templar go down. Moja stimming on forward, getting on top of the Robo. The Robo falls. Immortals, they're coming in, but they have no support. Immortals on their own, what can they do? Some charges coming from behind. Not a bad engage there from SKillous, but he just doesn't have enough. EMP connects. Nexus going down. And SKillous can only do so much here to survive, to hold on. And we're looking to force the ace match. I mean, Moja, he forced the ace match against Geralt earlier. Went all the way to game 3 against Geralt, and now looking to do the same here against SKillous. And can he go further? GG gets called. Moja ties up the series 1-1. GG. Let's go. GG, well played. Ooh, we are going all the way to the ace match, and SKillous feeling the heat here again. He did overextend earlier. It all just snowballed out of control when SKillous moved out on the right hand side. Remember when we were following the Slow Lot army, how he was out in the center of the map and he was just being kited to death, and SKillous refused to turn around. He committed to the fight. He lost the Zealots, he lost all the Immortals, he lost his High Templar, the Warp Prism. Just everything went south very quickly for SKillous. And from that moment, Moja, he had control of the game and he was able to maintain it. SKillous had a couple of moments, if you remember, with the Zealot run by, with some storms as well, but just wasn't enough to recover from his earlier losses. And with that, comes down to this. Comes down to the final game on Oceanborn. Let's go. Let us go. Oh. So we're getting into that final game. And I believe Moja has yet to take a series here in this group. Has yet to win a series. Has taken maps. But he is now one step closer to taking his first series in a HomeStory Cup. Here he is, the German Terran player, forcing the ace match against SKillous, baby. Here he is, Moja. Let's go. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss player representing Team Liquid being forced into Game 3. Can he bounce back? It is SKillous. We go. Again, SKillous may be being a little bit overconfident in that last game. Being active on the map, being caught out. And Moja, once again, moving out with an SCV. We saw both in Game 1 and Game 2, he went for an eBay block. Here in Game 3, oh, we might be setting up for a proxy. At the same time, SKillous is on the hunt. He's looking for any stray SCV and checking his vision. Oh, he barely misses. He barely does miss the SCV. Okay, it's going to be a proxy Rax from Moja. We have one at home and one proxied. SKillous was looking, but again, just one step to the left, he would have found it. Now, with a proxy 2 Rax, I'm curious. This Rax is pretty far back. This could just be proxy Reaper, or we could be looking for something more. So we have the one gas back at home. Probe is being forced away. Curious what direction we do take this in. SKillous going to be able to finally expand where he so chooses. Finally expanding at the natural location. Again, based on what SKillous saw, he's looking for an expansion. Alas is being forced away. You have Reapers on the way for Moja. Meanwhile, yeah, Reaper's being proxied. So it's going to be 2 Rax Reaper here at Moja. With this, we're going to be able to apply some pressure, able to pick away at probes. But I'm curious as to this SCV. I guess we should be going in for a bunker. But I feel like we should already be moving at the SCV if that was the case. Do have my eyes on our Terran player to see if we double down. No expansion yet. Yep, there it is. Factory. That's what I was waiting for. I was curious. I was like, what is this SCV doing? We're not moving forward for a bunker. What is the plan? Factory. Okay, 1 base all in. Moja, he's going for a 1 base all in. He is doubling down. First Reaper is being zoned away. Second Reaper moving out as well, just for some map control, ideally. SKillous with a Robo Opener. Very safe play. Very safe play out of SKillous. But it's curious, as a Protoss player in PvT, you have kind of 3 tech paths. You can go Twilight Council, you can go Robo, or you can go Stargate. Robo is usually the more defensive option as it gives you access to safety Immortals early on. Just really early Immortal production here for SKillous. As shield batteries are on the way, SKillous does confirm there's still no expansion. Doesn't see much across the map, doesn't see an add-on. And it's going to be a 2-1-1 setup. Tech Lab is on the way. Are we going for a proxy tank? That's what it looks like. Looking like early tank production here. Okay. Who proxies the tank? Yeah, there it is. Who proxies the tank? Moja does, maybe. Moja, let's go. Meanwhile, it's going to be a Prism first. With this, we basically have early Blink. We have defensive Blink available now for SKillous. Of course, we can reinforce and harass across the map. SKillous has yet to really determine what's going on. He's still in the dark. We have a Liberator on the way as well. We can see a second pylon for SKillous, just to keep everything powered. 2 more gates. It's going to be a 3-gate setup here. Prism moves out. Observer behind this. And with this Prism, we can harass. But alas, we still are in the dark as to what's happening. Ooh, Bay is on the way. That's going to be for fast Colossus production. That means we might be skipping our Immortal. Marines move out. They're spotted. Marines are spotted. We're going to be able to kite back against them. Meanwhile, the main army moving out as well. And now we found it. Oh, did we catch the Prism? Not quite. But we recall back home. Immediately Immortal production. Immediately Immortals. It's on the way. Soon to be a 2nd and a 3rd shield battery as well. Big reaction out of SKillous, but is it too late? Focus down a Reaper. The Prism has made it back home with that recall. Observer over the army. Observer is over the army. The Immortal is going to be able to pop in. Liberator has arrived. Maybe sieging up. And we're slowly leapfrogging forward. The tanks are within range of the shield batteries. Okay, we force a cancel on one. The other is within range. It's going to be killed. You can see SKillous trying to come in from behind. Or even catch reinforcements. Yeah, good pickups. Dragging away the army. A couple of Marines are going down. Solid juggling here from SKillous, pulling back. But at the same time, gateway falls. We're down to 2 gateways. Backup gateways are on the way. We're only warping 2 units at a time. SKillous can't be the production. And Adepts, do we commit? Oh, I don't think we should. Oh, yeah, a bit of a mistake there. All the Adepts go down. SKillous bleeding off Adepts. Not worth it. Second Liberator has arrived. SKillous, he's up against the wall. A third tank has arrived. Meanwhile, we shut down the factory. What you see is what you get. Moja, no more tanks. No more units on the way. SKillous avoiding the main army. Do we go for a base trade? Do we just push? No, okay. We're setting up first round. We're trying to get ready for first round. Pylon falls. Do we have the overcharge? Not quite. We did get a kill on the factory. Robo's depowered. Oh, no more immortals. Boys have been pulled, but they run into the army of SKillous. And Moja is now aware. Once again, slowly pushing forward. Liberator repositioning to defend from behind. And SKillous may have to pull the boys. May just have to pull the boys here. Bunkers on the way. Viking going for the Prism. Okay, Prism survives. Tanks now within range of almost the Nexus. Adepts throwing a shade. Do we commit? Not this time. Thankfully, not this time. So more Liberators on the way. More Marines as well. We have a bunker. I'm loving the positioning of that second bunker on the low ground. Marines, they push on forward. They catch the Immortal. The boys are being pulled too late. SKillous' attention being pulled apart. We shade in. We commit. And we do work through one of the tanks and one of the Liberators. But is it enough? A second tank goes down. But this is all we have left. 2 Immortals and a Stalker. We barely reinforce. But I don't think SKillous has enough. The Marine count is too high. We get the tank, but we lose the Immortal. The Immortal goes down. And looking at what we have left, we have 16 Marines. We don't have tanks, but we don't need tanks. We're pushing in. SKillous in a lot of trouble. Does force field the ramp just in time. We do force field the ramp. Prism going for a counterattack. If this goes a little bit longer, then SKillous can reinforce. He's got a lot of gateways finishing up, but these gateways are just too little too late. They might be. We got 5 Stalkers in production. They do warp in. There's a lot of Stalkers. Liberators do one to each. No shield batteries in the main. Across the map, we're getting damage done. SCVs are falling. And these Liberators just bullying the army back. A third Liberator has arrived. The freedom is here. There's too much freedom. We deny mining. We force the recall to the natural to get out of this, to get out of the corner. Does break out, but the Liberators, they reposition. We're just zoned out of the main. We cannot push up, not anymore. And Moja, it looks like he's done it. He has done it. He may be losing a lot of workers across the map, but he will get a kill of everything in the main. Can we evacuate with any of these probes? We should be able to evacuate with a handful of them. It looks like in the end, 8 probes will survive. They do break out. Okay, so let's just look at the unit stat. There's nothing in production. There's nothing left in production here. No economy for Moja. SKillous does save some probes, but does not have enough for a Nexus. SKillous cannot afford a Nexus. He can afford a pylon. He can afford pylons, gateways. Remember, he doesn't have blink. Takes off a couple of Marines, not bad. Marines are going down. The orbital is floating away. Remember, we have mules. Orbitals, they do have mules available. We can reassemble our economy, potentially. Probes are fanning out. Marauder still in the main, going ham. I don't know if this is the best play for the I keep calling it Marauder. I don't know if this is the best place for the Immortal. I'll be honest. I feel like the Immortal should be with the Prism, but regardless, we're still pushing in. Stalkers on the hunt. Okay, so we're only leaving 4 Stalkers because we can micro with the Prism, of course. We can micro with the Prism. We can juggle back. We have micro potential. Yeah, we're going in. Meanwhile, all the other units with SKillous are hunting down buildings. They're all hunting down buildings. We get 4 Stalkers to micro with. Oh my god. Shaving off Marines. Good pickoffs so far. Good control. It's 14 Marines. We had 16. Now we're down to 14. Tech Lab is done. Ooh, the Prism under fire from the Liberators. You don't see Liberator anti-air do much often, but they're going for the Prism. They're going to hunt it down. Stalkers can take down one Lib at least. Oh my god, we barely get away. But the Prism has fallen, which means we can't micro anymore. We have limited micro potential. The rest of the army is rocking up. Down to 13 Marines. 3 Libs. Immortal has arrived. You can see SKillous just rallying his army together. Still plenty of buildings in the main. Has probes in the main base of his opponent, just in case. Still has an Nexus. He's mining! Oh, the Reaper! No, the Reaper in the main! Oh, good. So be very careful with our movement here. But the Reaper in the main goes down. We can mine! SKillous! He's mining! He's mining, Bobby! He can make units. He can break out of the supply block. Let's go! Meanwhile, the orbital is still floated. It's still in the air. Still no saturation, but here we go. It's looking to land. You see SKillous on the hunt. We had 13 Marines. Now we're down to 9. 9 Marines left. And with these liberation zones, we can land. Now we can get back to mining as well. The economy is restarting. Let's go. Stim is on the way. He's crazy. Oh, that's going to be massive. I mean, it's a give and take, right? Stim is a huge upgrade. At the same time, there's no medevacs. So every Stim is going to be hurting and killing Moja. But he can surprise SKillous. Stim is done in a couple of seconds, and SKillous won't be expecting it. If timed correctly, we can reveal Stim at the opportune moment, and we can shut down the Stalkers. Like, we just have to be very careful with Stim. Don't want to waste it as we bleed out more Marines. Too many Marines. Oh my god, down to 6. 6 Marines left. I don't think Stim is going to be enough anymore. 6 Marines? Like, man with a gun is good, but is it that good? Is it that good? SKillous, he's no longer supply blocked. Oh my god. Finding a way in. He's within range of the Lib. There's Stim. Liberator goes down, but we catch the Stalkers. 1 Stalker goes down. Oh, but it's going to cost us every Marine. Oh my god, all the Marines fall. All we have left is 2 Liberators, and we've done it! SKillous! He just microed his way out of this. He kills everything. That's it. That's it. As long as we don't miscontrol against the freedom zones, we can just have position. We can rotate around. Oh my god, SKillous, he's crazy. This game was over. I mean, it was looking over. It was a wild setup here. 2 Marines left. We have some mining going on. But again, 2 Liberators is not enough to cover the base. It's not enough. The CC under fire. We're going for the kill. We forced the lift. No more mining. We have another Marine making its way across the map. And yeah, we can get on top of the racks. It's gonna fall. Aye, aye, aye. SKillous. He's done it. At this point, he's done it. We force field. We catch a Lib. There's 1 Liberator left. 1 Marine left as well. GG gets called, and SKillous takes the game and the series 2-1. GG. Oh my god. He's crazy. Everything was looking so good for the Terran player. Everything was looking so good for Moja. Everything was looking ideal. Like he had broken the natural, he'd busted into the main, he had forced a base trade, he had an orbital lifted that had potential to mule as well. But he was picked apart. Despite having all those Liberators, and he even killed the... I feel like up until killing the Prism, things were looking still good for him. Like, remember, he had, I would think it was 13 Marines. He had 13 Marines, he had 3 Liberators, and he had decided to set up and defend his expansion, to get back into mining. But unfortunately, he just wasn't able to protect himself there. We saw that SKillous split up his army. He was able to find weak points, was able to find some just better angles to poke in at the Marines, at the Liberators, and yeah, our setup at that 1 base just wasn't good enough. We went from 13 Marines down to 0. We went from 3 Liberators down to 0 as well. Like, SKillous did pick his opponent apart and did come back. Did manage to bring it back at the end. GG, well played. Congratulations to the SKillous. What a series. What a series. And I can't believe that Moja was so close to winning. Like, the series period, like Moja, he's more of an unknown. I'm sure there are many people watching right now that maybe are unfamiliar with him. Everyone knows SKillous. who is Moja, right? He's not even on a team, but he went to the ace match against Geralt, he went to the ace match against SKillous. Really impressive stuff. Really impressive play here out of Moja. Hyper aggressive, and it wasn't all in, sure, but still, to go to the ace match against some of the best Protoss players in Europe is not easy. Not easy. GG, well played. I don't know, true. True. I know there are maybe some newer StarCraft viewers in the chat. True. But still, just trying to emphasize how impressive it is that Moja did perform this way and perform this well against these players. Just trying to emphasize that fact. Regardless, GG, well played, congratulations. SKillous does take it in the end. Whew. And with that, we are getting ready for our next matchup, potentially. Let's quickly have a look at the brackets and figure out where we are. !B in the chat, if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves.